Hey everybody, I'm gonna do a big flower resin tray mold and just a one piece poster mold. I usually do sets of two, but I have so many things still packed up from our move that we did last June, and still have a lot of my supplies all boxed up, especially the resin stuff, because of my limited space to work in a bedroom until I get my studio finished. So I am trying out Nick Pro. This is the clear, crystal clear, and it's made for molds and so forth, and the working time is 40 minutes to an hour maybe. Cures in I think 8 equal parts A and B. I'm going to do about 18 ounces, and I know this mold, because I've got it written on the side, holds 2. I got it from Refloxy. There'll be a link below the video. And it's a really nice, super thick mold, so don't let it deceive you. It's not super deep. So some 5-inch molds hold up to 4 ounces of resin. This only holds 2. The big flower mold under everything, which you'll see later in the video, I think it holds at least 32 ounces or so. We only want to go about halfway or so, because I'm wanting to maybe mold it into a bowl. And if you fill it to the top, it's going to be too thick to bend, and I've done that before, and you risk cracking or breaking it as you're trying to manipulate it. So we're only going to put about 16 ounces or so in the tray, and at the most 2 into the flower mold. I've got a round leveling table underneath right here that it's about 24 inches across. I'll have everything I use below the video and the links. It's great because you can level it underneath, so always use your little level and make sure that your surface is level when you're doing resin. I've got my little culinary torch, or if I need to pop bubbles, this is a low temp heat gun. It blows air more so than a really high temp heat gun, which is like 1800 degrees. The low temp is only 300 degrees. You have less chances of messing up your molds, but it does blow air, so you don't want to blow it into a design that you've created in your mold if you're going for a 3D effect or something like that. It's great for just when it's clear or just one color, and it's great for popping bubbles. You can also use 91% alcohol or 99% alcohol, and that's what's in my little bottle here. I always keep it on hand and just keep it in a little spray bottle. You can use this at any point in time throughout your whole creation of the video. It's great for cleaning your molds. It's great for popping bubbles and everything. Also have baby wipes. Baby wipes and alcohol are your best option for cleaning gloves, surfaces. The combination of the two works really well to get resin off of things. I've got a big cup that's going to have my 18 ounces of resin in it. I've got I now have the infrared tool that I'll use. I'm going to tell you time and temperature as I go. I'm going to try to remember that. Here's my little timer. I'm going to turn it on. And I won't start it until I mix, and I'll just time my mixing, and then I'll start it at 0 after I've mixed my resin. We will start with 0 for timing purposes, because you don't time your resin once it's mixed until it's fully mixed, and then you time it from that point on as far as warming and for the 3D effect and that kind of thing. I'm using Cast and Craft white pigment paste from Amazon. I'm going to use a couple of micas. I'm hoping this will turn out really pretty. I can't find all my mica powders. This is from this little piggy. It's called Gilded, so it's a really bright golden yellow, and I'm going to deepen it probably with some alcohol inks. I'll show you that in a minute, because I want a deeper gold, but I think that'll be a good starting point. With this resin, you can only add 6% to whatever cup of resin that you have mixed. So, if I have an ounce of, resin, only 6% can be pigment so that it cures properly. Also in the white, I'm going to use Sparkle White. This is Etsy's Funshine Colors shop. Love her shop. She's got so many beautiful colors, and this is wonderful to go in white. It can go in any color. It just gives that color shimmer. It does not change any color to a lighter color. It just gives shimmer, even though it says it's white. It's really just sparkle, and it just is fabulous to add to any color to make it shimmer even more. And I'm going to mix up a pink, and I'll maybe make it a little bit deeper. This is Flamingo Pink by Pearlex, just another brand, different micas. And then the inks I'm going to use possibly are Bray Reese Brown, medium magenta, alcohol, the white by Jacquard, and rich gold maybe. I have an off-brand box, Decor Rom alcohol inks. There's 24 of them, and I've got peach, which I may use a little bit on the outskirts. I'm just not real sure. I'm gonna just play it by ear when I get to that point. Super important, even though it says no VOCs and all that, there are still gases and things because it is a chemical reaction. I have a full face mask I'm going to be wearing while I do all of this, so I'm talking before I even get started. The rest of it will be without me talking, but I will either put the words on the screen or whatever. It's so important to be careful, and I used to the last couple of years I used to talk through my videos. I now have COPD, and I've never smoked, never been around smokers, and so you can get it from the environment, and I'm positive that it was probably from working with resins, even though I've always used, top quality resin. That does not matter. It's still a chemical. There are microbubbles that float up. They can go into your eyes, your nose, and everything else. So either wear a mask over your nose and mouth and wear glasses or goggles, or a full face mask and be safe. I'm going to do 18 ounces, 9 of B, 9 of A. I do B first because it is thinner. The A is thicker, so you want to put the thicker into the thinner. It mixes just much easier for you and better results. So B first, A into B. A comes last. So you can watch everything as I work through it on the time. I'll try to keep you posted on temperature and time. Okay, so if you saw in the video, which I'm sure you did, I spilled my white, scooped up some of it. I had enough to do everything. I now look at it, it's very shimmery. I probably should have put a little bit more than, I think, 5 drops for a stronger white. Of course, the stronger it is, the more chances you have of sinking. But timing wise, it was already starting to thicken up. It was 95 degrees or higher. And that's when it's starting to warm and you want to work with it at that point. Sometimes when you use like pigments, whereas I use mica powders, the mica powders really float in and intermingle pretty significantly. And with a pigment paste, they're heavier and they stay more maybe in a form, you would say, as the white would typically do if I had put more white pigment in. So just a note that micas are a little bit lighter and they kind of move more freely. And I think the alcohol ink helps a little bit with that as well. I totally spilled white into this, and so I just had to kind of improvise. It's not going to match this per se, and it may look terrible on the other side. We'll just have to see. But, you know, I kind of messed up spilling the white, and then it kind of got me in a panic mode, and sometimes when you're rushing you end up making more mistakes than if you don't rush. So you kind of learn from your mistakes, and this was definitely a mistake. I'm hoping it'll still be really pretty. My plan is to unmold this at about 4 or 5 hours. I'm not sure how long because this is Nick Pro. It's the first time I've used it. And usually I use counterculture, or say one that's comparable is Lett's Resin, and you can kind of start touching it at 5 hours and it's flexible without putting fingerprints and it being tacky. And then I noticed after standing up, because I'm usually sitting when I do this, when I stood up, my flower is off center. It's not my table. I checked and this is level. It's definitely where I started my thing, and you know, kind of the first petal, it was definitely off whack. So sometimes it helps if you just go ahead and stand while you're doing it. And I may not have even needed to put any of that pink alcohol ink in that I dropped in, you know, at around 35 minutes or whatever it was. I waited until it warmed up in the big container. I waited until it warmed up to about 94 degrees, which was, I didn't even look at the time, but you saw on the clock, like right now it's at 53 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on the time throughout the day and then come back and try to mold it into a bowl. I had done another one which I need to still put a clear coat on, and this didn't have any shimmer in it. It was just alcohol inks and white. It's kind of pretty, but it's off center, it's off whack, it's not perfect, and you know, so sometimes you just learn from your different mistakes that you make. And on this one I got panicked when I spilled, and then it was like, I had really just meant for those lines to be a little bit more definite, but we'll just see what happens when we unmold, when we can touch it. So I'll keep you posted on the timing. I did with the pink mixture, I used flamingo pink, and then I came in with this little piggy supernova, which is kind of a, it looks like a color shift. It's kind of a pink blue, pink purple, so it's got a little color shift to it. It's really pretty. I added that. I put, you know, just a drop of the medium magenta Bray Reese. You know, this was just an off-brand, the Decorum, and that was peach, even though it comes out pink. It was called peach, you know, that I put in on the surface of the resin. Let that just sit, and then you can mingle it around or whatever, but don't ever torch alcohol inks right after you put it on, because it can flame up, so you need to let them kind of rest and settle in, and then you can torch for bubbles. Again, you can also spritz with alcohol anytime you want to. That also releases any more surface bubbles you know, for that. And then the gilded, I used gold, and I put in a drop of brown, a drop, which is rose, a drop of Valencia, I think this is a Ranger alcohol ink, several drops of the rich gold, which is in the Exciter or Exeter pack of the Jacquard Pinata alcohol ink. The set, I have that. Those are really vivid colors. The gold I love in it, and I use the white all the time. So I'm going to let this sit. This is going to be the bottom regardless. So I'm not super worried about if like dust were to fall onto it or whatever. It's not going to be, you know, detrimental to it because it's going to be the bottom. This resin, I have to say, it had very little bubbles when I was mixing it, so I was impressed with that. It's super clear, it's UV and all that. I was reading the pamphlet that came in the box with it. It's only good up to 200 degrees as far as temperatures go, so you don't want to put it near any hot source like a window with hot sun coming in. You don't want to put it outdoors in really hot temperatures because it may make it relax and kind of wilt a little bit, but once it cools down it would harden again. And you don't want to put anything super hot on it. I'm used to using resin that's good up to about 400 to 500 degrees, and this is only good up to 200 degrees. You could probably put a coffee cup on it, but you don't want to put anything really hotter than that. And even though resins say they're food safe, I don't have anybody ever put food that is wet into it, or like hot casseroles or anything like that. I usually tell people to put dry goods like chips, cookies, you know, pieces of fruit, bowl with, you know, you put water and flowers or water and floating candles. Like I said, chips, candies, and things like that, but do not use it like, don't put it in the microwave, don't put hot foods into it. You know, I would not recommend that because it is chemical based, and you just don't want to do anything that's not totally safe for people. So it's been about an hour since from the mixing point. After I stopped mixing, I started the timer. It's been an hour, so we're going to wait. I'll let you know what time it is or how many hours it's been, and then we'll go from there to make the bowl. I'm going to leave the coaster in overnight just because it's still flexible. It's been at least 6 hours. This is still flexible, so that works well. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the mold, form it in a bowl, and you want a bowl that has a slick surface, like a steel aluminum bowl or a shiny plastic bowl, but you want some kind of a slickness to it. And you have to be careful with these because if you let it fold in on itself and touch itself at this stage, sometimes it'll stick and you can't get it unstuck. So beware of that when you're unmolding. If you can see how pretty the shimmer is, I think it's maybe prettier on this side than the other because I see a lot of dropped white where it puddled. Also beware of your surface that you're working on. Like I've got resin that's dried on this silicone mat, so I don't want to touch it with my fresh resin out of the mold here. So let's see if I can get it peeled out, and you want to try not to stretch it. So try to gently peel it out. Okay. So here's the other side, and actually it's not bad, even though it's wonky as far as it's not centered. And that's pretty, but I do like this side. We're gonna go with it. So this is I want to say I got this at a dollar store somewhere. This is very dainty looking. I like the daintiness of it. So, the center's off whack. Everything is a learning experience, right? So you'll press it in as firmly as you can. Now the last one I did, I curled the edges over, which I like it to have a little curl. But you don't want it to be tight to the bowl because then you can't get the bowl out. And I also put tape on it the last time and it leaves a little ridge from the tape. So let me just see if I can get it to relax a little bit. You can use a little heat. Okay, that's not going to work. You have to have something to hold it. So I think we're just going to let the edges just stay the way they are. I would like them to curl a little bit, but so I'm just going to leave it as is. And what I do typically is I let it cure overnight, and then I use like a fast set resin and I put a coat in and I just coat it really well, because this is the bottom side that faces the mold and it's shiny. But if you put just a really like about an ounce or two of fast set into it and coat it, it just gives it a really glassy look and it makes it look like glass. So I will probably do that, but for now I'm going to leave this overnight. Typically I set something in the middle to hold it down, but it's pretty flexible and it's staying put pretty well. So I'm going to leave it as is. You want to use gloves too, even though the resin is not, chemically it's not going to hurt your hands, but you want to do this with gloves for no fingerprints in case you don't put a coat of resin on it. Okay, it's been overnight, and let's go ahead and take the coaster out. I don't expect it to be very pretty on the other side because of the way I spilled. Yeah, it's just very plain. It's almost prettier on this side. This has a little ridge because I didn't fill the coaster up all the way, so I may put a top coat on this side just to even it out. And I have a little Lazy Susan. Here's the bowl. This is still a little flexible, and I'm not used to that with counterculture or Lett's resin. So I'm not sure I like that aspect, that it's been as long as it has. That means it can still relax and kind of soften, and I want it to stay more rounded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait an extra day, keep it in the bowl so it totally cures in this shape. And then I'm going to put about an ounce to ounce and a half of fast set on top just to give it a glassier look, and I'll show you how to do that. And I may do gold edges, so we'll come back to this on the next section. Okay, this bowl has sat overnight. It's still a little bit flexible with the Nick Pro. What I'm going to do is put a fast set in it, and that will really set it nice and hard and give it a glassy look. It's shiny now, but it'll be more glassy looking when we're finished. I'm going to use Counterculture Fast Set. Their bottles have changed, but I've had these for a little while. I'm going to mix up about no more than 2 ounces. You really don't even need that much. I'm going to mix it about 5 minutes, and then you have about a 10-minute working time, which is no problem because we're just going to really put it on fast. Spread it with my gloved hand. Maybe start with my little silicone brush, which these are fabulous because once the resin has cured, you just kind of flip it and that resin peels right off. And the cool thing about these plastic cups is if you put them upside down on your silicone mat and let them cure, you can just peel the resin right out. It's much easier to get out than letting it cure at the bottom, because if it cures at the bottom, then your measurements are not going to be correct when you pour new projects. The other thing I want to always mention is safety first. Just got me a new mask. I had a full face mask and it makes me feel very claustrophobic and I can't breathe in it sufficiently enough. So I'm going to put on goggles. That protects your eyes from anything that floats up, because there's little micro bubbles. And then I got this inexpensive, it's I think about 30 bucks on Amazon. It's 3M, which is very reputable, and it's a P100, which is for particles and things chemical related. So I'm going to put this on while I'm mixing and while I'm using the resin. Always be safe. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours and the fast set cures pretty quickly, and the longer it sits the harder it will cure for all of the resin, whether it was done with Lett's resin fast cure or counterculture DIY fast set. I think it's pretty. It's shimmery. It's a little off center, which most of my bubbles come out that way anyway, and that's okay. And it's not perfect, which none of my pieces are, and that's my claim to fame, is I don't have any claim to anything perfect. So I hope you can see this, but I like it. It's beautiful. It's kind of an overcast day. I'll try to get some pictures of it outside. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please give me a thumbs up, and please make a comment just saying, just say something. Say thank you, say I'd love to see these colors or this style or whatever. Just comment. I would love to see what you have to say. I will see you on the next video. Bye bye. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. Love you all.